Hello and welcome to JomezPro's coverage of the 2022 Texas State Disc Golf Championship presented by Latitude 64. We are on the Thorn layout out here in Tyler, Texas. You're joined by Nate Sexton, Jeremy Koling, and Paul Ulibarri.
And folks, if you haven't had a chance yet to go check out this week's practice round, go over and check it out. It was one of the most fun ones we've ever filmed.
And while you're at it, might as well hit that like and subscribe button. It really goes a long ways in helping all of this run smooth.
JomezPro.com for your Texas Walker t-shirts now until April 1st.
And on this card, we have Matty O. Exciting to have him back on tour. He had a little bit of a issue early season, but he's back out here and he does well in Texas. So we're looking forward to big things from him. Paul McBeth, I mean, just impressive across the board, no matter what you say about him. One of the most fun players to play with and to watch. It's going to be exciting to have him on the card.
Look at this big guy.
Ooh, look at the shirt.
And look at that fourth in park percentage. That's getting it done. That's putting it really close and making things easy on yourself.
And over here from Sweden, we have Linus Carlsson, and I will never get his first name correctly pronounced. I try a bunch of times and he laughs at me every time I say it. It seems so simple, but it just is not for Americans. I just cannot hear what he's saying.
Looking at hole one, par 3, 382 feet with the OB road on the right. This is a big pyramid. From the bottom of it, you are in circle one, but you don't
Ladies
quite
and gentlemen,
feel like
please
it.
welcome your 3:33 tee time for the first round of the 2022 Texas State Championship presented by Latitude 64. First up on the box, let's get a big round of applause going for Matthew Orum.
He's got the lobster boil shirt on today.
Wow.
Of course he does. It's a bunch of lobsters and corn on the cob and limes, and it's amazing.
How many sunglass catches is he going to do today?
We should have a catcher.
We should get a good sense for it
Little
right
counter.
here, right now. Lower than I thought. Less than I thought. He goes nice and wide here. Can he hit the pyramid? Hard to tell.
Yes, he does.
Okay, nice shot.
He's resting against the edge of the stone.
Let's give it up for Paul McBeth.
Relatively calm compared to what we practiced out here. This was a huge right to left crosswind in all of our practice rounds, but today the weather's pretty attackable.
Yeah, it seemed like it was just straight tailwind. So your best choice is just to land it short. If you do go deep, I think that putt's just a little bit harder, and it's hard enough as it is.
Yeah, you definitely don't want any kind of headwind on this basket. And that is also resting against the stone.
Perfect.
Next up on the box, your 3:33 tee time. Let's give it up for Jeremy Koling.
Do you guys still get nervous playing on Jomez?
Forgot.
I don't think it makes a difference to me whether it's Jomez. I just get nervous all the time.
Yeah, right on.
Bummer.
Didn't even practice it, just the winds felt right.
Have you ever practiced the thumber? I mean, I feel like every time you ever throw one, you go, never practiced that. I just ripped it up and over.
Applause going for Linus Carlsson.
My name is Linus Carlsson. I'm from Sweden. I've been playing disc golf for 7 years. And I turned pro 2016. That was when I realized that this is something I want to do. But this is my first full tour. This is my first year not working on something else. This is my job now. I'm planning on playing full tour here. Hopefully I'll qualify for the UDISC and Disc Golf Pro Tour finals. Really looking forward to every single tournament. Not my biggest goal, but one of the biggest is to finish in first place at least one tournament. I haven't played as good as I want so far, but I'll get used to it soon. And hopefully I'm playing good at this feature card. My biggest influence is, I think, the pros because of YouTube. That's how I learned playing disc golf. I would say Paul. It's something about his game. He's been in the game for a long time. He's been on the top, and I just like his style of playing. I'd say my putting first, than wooded courses, just because I hit gaps easier. That's just something we have in Sweden. We have a lot of wooded courses, so hitting gaps I feel pretty comfortable doing. I feel like this course suits my game because it's a lot of wooded holes. I'm gonna have to be pretty aggressive to be able to play at the top level. So I'm gonna go for a lot of big shots, big putts, and hopefully make the top 10 or 15.
If you haven't seen Linus play yet, get ready to watch a great player, one of the top players from Europe. Really excited to have him over here full-time this season. Very smooth player. Like he said, he's really accurate in the woods, and that usually translates to pretty accurate out in the open as well.
Good luck, guys. Have a good round.
Another perfect shot. It's a great putt to start right there.
And that's a tough spot to putt it at because you do have that crosswind, and you could see it actually lift that putt up into the high side.
We've said it so many times before, but not having it happen on that first hole, something that tests you, gets your mind right, and making it is just it's a fantastic way to start for all of us. I mean, like you said, Paul, actually it was you, Nate, when you're at the bottom of these stones here, you still, you know, Paul just barely gets that over the rim. It still is a challenging putt. There's only way you can give yourself a tap in is if you're on the second or even the third stone.
What a start.
In the wind, you aren't seeing star frames on this hole. It's just not happening. So this was a very good opportunity to take advantage of the low wind.
I doubt there were many star frames even in the calm.
You might be right.
The putt is just a little bit tricky. Looking at hole 2 here, par 4, 741 feet, OB right and left. You'd like to go up the middle as far as possible. Got to watch that slope though, as the backhands do tend to feed towards that OB line. And then you got your option of a big hyzer around the outside with the right hand backhand, or perhaps a forehand up the middle for the approach. See that he says sit because this is going down that hill.
Yeah, that is, if that gets a skip, and it does, yeah, that's gonna, really nothing to stop it. There is a lot of sandy ground play out here, and a lot of times these hyzers will just dig in, but that didn't really have the dig in angle that he needed.
It was a tricky win. It was a right to left kind of head, if anything. Like you could see that flag, and that's scary to put it out over the road because one little flip, and then that's a really horrible mistake. You can still make par with the mistake that Matty O made there.
Perfect shot from Paul. And you get a little flip on this, going big.
Yeah, just try to avoid getting it too high. The mistake obviously is getting a little bit too much nose angle up and then drifting down that hill. So playing against the wind.
It's a difficult course to predict the skip. Like you said with that sand, you see a lot of nothing and then alternately like normal 50-foot Texas type of skips.
Right.
So you really have to be careful.
Wait a second. Wait.
That needs to sit.
It does. But yeah, that was very wide for Linus and still made it all the way down to the left side of the fairway. Now, Matt is in a tough position here. He's well out of position and has to get up and down to save the par. And his ceiling is quite low, but that usually isn't an issue for the way that Matty O throws. He obviously puts that disc on a really good nose angle. One of the best low ceiling throwers in this generation and of any generation, really.
His career is mapping a few generations.
That's right.
Nice shot there.
Very good.
I really like the forehand second here to fight that slope.
Paul does too. And this is on a really good, nice wide line. Little skip to the basket on the bottom side. 18 feet left for Paul. Linus is a very heavily backhand favored player, and He's going to go for the turnover mid-range, but this has way too much angle early.
At least it kicked out. That will give him 50.
The Thorn is known for its rough. I mean, it's called the Thorn for a reason. And if you get behind these really thick saplings or cedars or that's a cedar there, right?
That's what
You
I would
are
have
my
said.
arboriculturalist.
That is what I would have said.
Yes. It's hard to get out of there.
Yes.
And so that was a good break, like you said, Paul.
Did kind of square it up for him right there, but didn't get that kind of signature Anheuser he normally does out of that release. Oh, no.
It's like the hardest thing in the world when you know you're going to see yourself miss to watch it still. That was a very easy putt. I definitely did not like seeing that one hit the ground.
Way harder than your hole 1 putt, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. And a little downhill, too, so all you got to do is just get it started on the right line, and the disc does the rest. But alas, it's going to be a par for Linus and myself, a birdie for Paul, and this putt for bogey for Matt. No one in the history of the game has putted the way that Matt putts or throws. And we've said it many times, but it's just a very cool thing to watch. Somebody take that style and really make it their own.
Hole 3, par 3, 464 feet with the early mandatory low ceiling and slightly downhill the whole way. Otherwise, this might be impossible, but this is a real great example of a Disc Golf Pro Tour level par 3 in 2022.
Yep.
464 blind to the basket.
McBeth said he wanted to work on his sidearm, get a little more distance, probably for holes like this, and this is just on a fantastic line. Are you kidding me?
It just didn't have any chance but to do that.
Yeah.
At no point was it close to any tree. It just was perfect.
And we're looking at a guy now who doesn't really like to get outdone on those forehand holes. This is very low, but it's gonna work. Oh, yes.
Right.
Still
Circle's
technically
edge.
outdone, but fantastic.
Yes. It's hard to outdo what Paul did there. Out of my hand, I was thinking there's two things this could do. This could hit the ground and stay exactly where it is, and I have a 200-foot approach, or I might be inside the circle.
Roller is a good idea here.
It needs to flip now. Now.
Just couldn't get...
Oh, the little one?
Mm-hmm. Even if it misses the little one, it's still at 55 best case, I feel like. But yeah, you're right. It's a difficult ground to get that roller angled down correctly. Sound like maybe a bit of a slip there for Matt.
Oh, this is heavy angle. Can it fight through? Yes. So hopefully this just stops.
Yeah, that's probably a good break that it didn't go into those woods deep, because now this should be just an easy pitch hyzer. Yeah. Or a straight shot. Oh. Okay, yeah. Should be fine.
Solid.
Didn't look like he had much of a stab at it there because of those limbs in front of him. Jerm from just out inside the circle. Very good putt. Right over the rim. That's a great birdie to get. I mean, total bonus hole, in my opinion.
Totally. I'd look at that the same way. When I was looking at scores in the morning and I saw that my buddy Nate birdied it, I was really happy for him. So to get the birdie myself, it felt good. Because this is definitely one you look at, you're thinking, this is going to take everything I've got to get there.
I almost went into the creek deep out of bounds.
Wow.
With what?
Sidearm.
Okay, well, what did you actually throw and where did it actually go?
Roller.
Okay.
Pretty good hole. No bogeys there. 2 birdies. I mean, that's fantastic.
Not probably going to be many birdies on this one. This is the hardest hole in the course because It's just low ceiling, uphill off the tee, hard to get to a position where you can actually throw a far second shot. And it's a par 4, 880 feet. The woods line on the right is treacherous, and there's just no place where you can really air it out. So if you do want to give yourself a birdie look, it's got to be 440, 440, and the disc can never be higher than 10 feet off the ground. And maybe even 8 feet off the ground.
That's low.
Yeah, but I mean,
I don't think it's 440.
No,
though.
not even close. I mean, you just can't even really get 440 off this tee. You're thinking maybe 400.
You'd have to play something very understable and really hug that right side to get into the perfect position.
That's a nice tee shot right there. I think that uphill side is a little more open.
Yes, that's the side I think most players who have delusions of grandeur are trying to get up there. More left, better angle.
Yeah, and 3 years ago, on any course on the planet, this would be a par 5.
It's maybe like 50 feet farther back away from being a par 5. I think if it's just like...
Even in today's standards, it's that tough.
Sure.
Absolutely.
It's a good note. Good note. Maybe the Thorn picks up a par 5 for next season.
And it's surprising there's no par 5s on this course, as I believe the shorter wooded course had par 5s. If I can't remember, but I think it did. Linus with the tough break with the early tree hit, putting him out of position, and that little tree kick didn't really help much either, because now he's right behind that cluster of trees, and he's still over 370 to the pin.
And it's not the kind of shot you can really swing into. It's a low ceiling. It almost kind of cuts down into a tunnel at the end. So you really don't want to be way back. This is good play right here. You're not trying at all for the 3. Just getting yourself in position, 2 really big forehands, and that should be a pretty simple approach.
It's a pretty easy concession when you stand there and you're looking at the basket and it's still 530 feet away. It's just...
And it plays tricks on your eyes. I mean, it doesn't look as far as it is, but where Linus landed, that is 380. But if you were there, as Matteo throws this low enough to get the skip, so that's fine. But when you're looking at it, it looks 300 feet. And then you throw it, and there's a false little edge right before where there's like a little ditch. So low ceiling, you hit that, and you're almost... Yeah, just to get the birdie. How many birdies?
Look at this. Well, we'll find out after this hole's played, but going into this hole, there were 0.
Gotcha.
But McBeth has got the best look of all of us, and he is over 75 feet away after 2 beautiful rips.
This is in trouble too.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not out of bounds over there, but it could be very tough.
Matt hanging that out there perfectly and checking up, almost skipping in, displaying the beautiful touch.
Yeah, I think it would be great to lengthen this into a 5 like you guys were talking about, because you're never going to get better weather than this.
Yeah.
And this is a windy place.
And you're hardly going to see 2 better shots than what we just saw Paul throw.
Yep. And, you know, so if it was going to get birdied, this is a great day for it. And Paul's going to have to toss this one in. And even he is not even interested in it. He's
0
just
birdies
looking
for the day.
Easy par.
And yeah, he's saying right there he'd love to run it, but the ceiling is low all the way to the pin. So it's If you look off to the left of the basket where that porta-john is, I think if the basket were back past the porta-john, it'd be a pretty interesting place for it to be, and only a little bit farther, but a true par 5.
Yeah, exactly. In all reality, very easy 4 to play for. You're just pitching a couple 300 footers, and then you got 200 and whatever.
Field was basically split 48% par and then 52% bogey and above, and not too many scores were double bogey or worse. It was mostly just pars and bogeys.
And you said no 1 birdie?
No.
None. Okay. Hole 5, par 3, 356. This is a tricky one, and this is your more traditional hole from the previous year. Wooded. slight bend to the right, hit your gap. You're going to see mid-range, some fairway drivers, and maybe even a sidearm from the big guy.
Paul's going to go with his buzz. Low ceiling with the mid-range. He's got to really drive it, and this is...
And this is just a classic hole that will never get old, ever.
This is... Yeah, what were you going to say?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that this type of hole will last forever. We're never going to see this be just so easy that it's like, no, we can't have that on a course.
Yeah, well, it's a sneaky low ceiling. The gap is really small late. It's not like a pure turnover or a hyzer for the forehand. It's got to kind of drift, but then straighten. Really nice, subtle angles.
Oh, Shanky.
Shanky does it. And how's that kick?
It was actually incredibly nice.
Okay.
It was forward and not into the deep. Like what you see behind Maddie, you got the same stuff up there to the right, and it's past that stuff. So that's very fortunate because that could have gone really anywhere.
I cannot believe that Matt's shirt is real.
Better believe it, buddy. It's as real as it gets.
It might be my favorite shirt I've ever seen worn on coverage.
You don't like the birdogami?
We didn't say that.
No, just not my absolute favorite.
Sure, but lobsters are pretty great.
I mean, it's
And they mate for life.
well, and it's like,
I don't
it's
know.
Matty-O.
Yeah.
Correct.
And so it's just like so perfect.
Nice.
And if you guys recognize this hole, it's because it was hole 16 last year at this very course. One of the very few number of holes that you're going to see that actually are in the same track.
Just 4, I believe.
Yeah, 4 holes. And we played all 4 of them back to back, actually. This hole and the next 3 are the only ones from last year. And that EO after that great drive, really not that good of a look for the birdie.
What a run Matt made last year at this very event. Go ahead, Paul.
I was just saying, I think that Matty-O's shot was a bit inside left. He did get through everything, but when you hit that angle correctly, I think the green is actually pretty friendly deep.
And not to get ahead of ourselves, but McBeth is playing perfect at the moment, because that par that he got is,
he didn't lose a stroke to anyone in the field, so might as well, for all intents and purposes, that's a birdie.
Yeah,
And he was probably closer than anybody made on the second shot.
You might be right. He is shredding it right now. So watch out, everybody else. Hole 6, par 4, 555 feet. There is an option to go over the top of everything here, but most players are going to go up the middle, try to drift it just a little bit right. Get as far as you can because it's really tight late, and you've got the OB Creek right behind the basket. So you'd love to get up there close enough to jump putt your way down the hill. Paul is looking skyward here.
Yeah, he likes this play because he says that even if he hits that inside tree, I believe that one right there, that green, that puts you in a good spot. And it's really like the only thing that's in his way.
That looked like it did what he wanted it to do.
Hyzer, quick. That's a real quick hyzer.
And that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Actually opens up the sidearm hyzer quite well. Hurry.
Yeah, that's a first down. This needs to turn over quick because this can go too far straight, but no, that's in a good spot too. It's the one thing you really can't do is go too long here. It really blocks that entry.
Ooh, this is a beauty. Does it slow down for you? Yes, it does. I think that was gone if you didn't catch that tree.
I took that as I factored that risk in. I was like, you know what? If I just hit this initial gap going for it, and I go out of bounds by the basket, it's a 4 if I don't commit to my shot.
Yeah, for sure. I like the strategy.
And Matty-O has to live with that. Unfortunately, a bad kick OB early. He's going to have a tough putt for that par. at this here with the harp from Linus.
Oh,
Ooh, scary, but safe.
Just barely.
And this is what we're talking about, getting in jump putt range. How aggressive does he want to be? Smartly, not very. Beautiful birdie for Paul.
And that perfect play will continue through 6 holes for Paul. Ooh, side pocket. That is Brooklyn all day long. Matty O, left side. Good save there.
very good birdie.
Made that look really simple, didn't he?
Really did. Everybody threw 3 shots. That's great. This can be a pretty treacherous hole. I mean, you leave it to 30 feet. That's the one thing you don't want to do. And then you have to run it. And so I totally agree with what you said about making sure to get it there. If you go, be deep, because if you don't,
So
you
be
could,
it.
yeah, you could bring 5 into play. Hole 7, par 3,
Oof.
300 feet.
Ooh.
This
This is a beautiful hole. It's absolutely beautiful. But again, you're talking about treacherous. This is as treacherous as it gets. There's creeks. Basically, anytime you hit a tree, you're in a creek.
Yeah, you have to be very specific. Yes.
I'm a little bit surprised that McBeth doesn't forehand here, but I love the result.
Sure.
I'm a little bit surprised that out of the whole entire course, they decided to keep this one on the course. This hole, I'm sorry, it is not forgiving in any way.
No. It's got a little bit of...
Well, for example, a shot like that
Yeah.
is safe, and then there are really good shots that I see go out of bounds all the time.
That was a bad shot. I got very lucky to get through everything there.
This is looking pretty good. Can it beat that last tree?
Nice.
Yeah, just a little short.
From my angle, I thought Linus was going to be inside 20. That just really dug into the ground there and came up 35 feet short. And that's going to be...
Safe?
That's going to be... Yes, it's safe. It's just a lot of work to do from here to get that par.
I do like it, though.
Oh,
Wow.
What's not to like?
wow.
Unbelievable.
That is a Hail Mary
Oh.
touchdown.
Glasses came off. That's one. Oh, almost gets away with it. And we didn't see any crazy carnage on this hole. But just wait. We're going to see it.
Well, you're saying this
today.
weekend.
Yeah,
Yes,
not today.
yes,
Yeah.
of
There's
course.
no carnage happening right now.
There
Yes.
will be
Yes.
carnage.
in the rounds to come. And maybe not, but probably. Paul McBeth to stay perfect from 25 feet. Little high rise, center buckets.
What a start.
Didn't know you could do that.
I feel like this hole, I'm okay with this hole because there's only one like it, but if there was a disc golf hell, it would be this hole 18 times. if that makes sense to you. Like, I'm okay. I don't mind it.
Yeah,
But like
sure.
just the fact that it's like, that was good and it's OP.
If this hole were reversed, if it was just a mirror of it, it would be my disc golf hell.
Yeah, I could see that.
Focus. Get rid of any of those pressure thoughts and really center yourself, like where you're at and the shot you're throwing. Trying to just really let everything besides the basket bleed away.
Take a look at hole 8, par 4, 564 feet. Very tight tunnel down to start, and then it breaks slightly left, but not as left as you might think when you're standing on the tee pad. You really want to be in that green grass on the right side. That's the only place where you have legitimate gaps to the basket that you feel like you can attack. Other than that, it's like scramble mode from anywhere on the left or the extreme right. There is that OB Creek to be worried about if you have a huge drive, but every approach, you got to make that decision. Am I going across or am I going to play for par?
Yeah.
Man, this guy.
It just never at any point. Look at that. And,
That's-
okay, right there it hit something. But I mean, at no point to that last tree was it in danger of hitting a thing.
That's not. I don't think that's going to be super easy from there. He's got still a lot of work to do.
He does.
I think you have work to do on this hole everywhere unless you get to the creek.
Nate, your voice was in my head from the practice round. That's a little inside there, Tex. Or don't you think? Or whatever you said.
You're going to have a decision to make from there, I think.
No decision. That's a layup all day.
Okay.
I suppose I could see how some people would get decision makey, but not from there. That's
It's right up on the creek.
You can't throw it any closer to the hole than that.
Wow.
That's insanely good.
Hurry. Hurry again.
Through
Hurry again.
everything.
That's it.
And that's the spot. That's where you want to be, right there. Sure, you take another 20 feet, but that's about as good as you expect. There's just about like 50 bajillion trees on this hole.
Yes.
And they're just scattered everywhere. There's not like one beautiful lane that really feels comfortable the whole way through. It's
So Paul does have the standstill putter. That's a good sign.
I was a bit surprised that he didn't go with the forehand anhyzer because it opened up the gap a bit more. But I think in his eyes, he's just thinking, if I can get anywhere near the circle, count it.
And
He's feeling good right now.
that was a nice shot. He is in the circle just barely. Look at this drive. Insane that that's not the best drive in the group.
And
Wow. And what kind of line are you going to be up first?
Yeah. You might not even see another drive as good as Mattio's all week. And that's, like you said, that's the second best
no.
drive.
Uh-oh, work to be done.
Yeah.
And a little trickier angle, but it's not very far to the basket here.
This is nice because it is a pretty big gap, and you can give it a run.
And he kind of did.
Yeah.
Gave it a run,
Yes.
he did, for sure.
Beautiful shot.
Because behind the basket, it is a slope, and so you can give it a little bid there. That was great. Just inside again. Outside.
Just outside.
Okay.
I think 32 feet 10 inches is the 10 meters, and that was 32 feet 10 and a quarter inches.
Great putt to save the par. Good scramble. Can he do it? That looks easy, doesn't it?
It just does.
7 under through 8. Wow.
When we were starting our rounds, Calvin, I believe, was leading at 10 under. And Paul's only played 8 holes, and he's at 7. So it's like, well, that was a good round, Calvin, but that's probably not going to be leading when this guy's all said and done.
I feel like the front is harder. There's a little more room to work on the back. We shall see. Mm-hmm. I know that this hole is hard. Hole 9,
Yes.
par 3, 399. It's sharply uphill. There is a tree in the dead middle of the fairway, right where you'd love for your disc to be. You really got to be intentional and try to pick your side. That short basket for the FPO division will be removed, by the time our players get here, but up here and then hard right, still continuing uphill through the gap. Not a lot of skips to be had in that sand. Just a really tough pickup.
Definite bonus birdie. I think this one is harder than hole 3.
I do. Oh, for sure.
Oh, yes.
Because there's a
Yes.
tiny gap and it's uphill. Yeah.
So this is when I kind of knew that Paul was feeling it because he told me what he was going to do, and that was it. He was playing out to the left side of the basket. He said, I'm just going to put it out there in circle 2 and just see what happens. And I was like, well, you just did that perfectly.
Roller on the run. Little long left.
Oh, almost aced the FPO basket. That was good. I do like the roller play here. It opens up the gap, and it makes you feel a little more comfortable with that middle tree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything else kind of filters to the middle tree, but the way you have to throw the roller, it doesn't like to land right in the middle. And is this turned over enough, Jerm?
Not quite. I did think it was farther than that.
That actually might be pretty bad.
It's not great. But I was really surprised to see that was as much distance as I got. This is like the longest 399 feet you're going to play.
Oh, it's pretty uphill.
Matty O is the scrambling man. Those are two fantastic.
Same disc both times,
Yes.
I think.
Well, he's
Same
had
shot.
he's had 3 fantastic scrambles so far, I think.
Look at you going with the backhand.
Well,
Beauty. Stepping out. Those putters that came from my backyard are so much happier doing what they're doing with you. Those were just sitting in my backyard.
Yes, I
Look at
thank you
this
for
little tiny gap. This is sketchy.
Underneath.
Oh, go.
that. No.
Okay, jumpies. Do a lot of Europeans do the jump putt? I feel like they like to stand and deliver.
Because they're so spinny with it. I
Yeah.
think they don't end up having to so often.
Here's Paul from really far. Oh, jeez Louise. Calm down.
Seriously.
Someone grab a bucket of Gatorade for this guy because he is just on fire.
That is crazy.
That is
So
not a birdie to get.
he just went long of the gap there, right? He's going around the backside.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't technically quite pin high, but he was just in the open space to allow him to show how good he is.
But he didn't go up the gap that most people go
Correct.
up, correct? He's like beyond that.
Yes.
Wow.
That could be top 10 best nines I've ever heard of.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah,
I mean, it's effectively perfect as we discussed.
Yes.
Hole 9 is super hard as you just saw.
I mean, there's
That's
like
incredible.
4 holes that are, maybe 5 of those 9 are incredibly tough. And I mean, it's up there with me with the 9 that he shot in Michigan. That was the perfect round there. Incredible stuff.
You can see it on the leaderboard. 2 clear of the field. Freeman and Heimberg also able to shoot 6s, 2 5s, and just 4 4s. So a 3 down makes the top 10. McBeth is at 8.
It's fun to watch.
Sure is. Thank you so much to our Founders Club and all of you for tuning in and watching our coverage week in and week out. We really appreciate all you guys and enjoy getting to do this job. We will be right back with the back 9 from the Thorn here in Tyler, Texas.